Union. And the people of Afghanistan, they resented that particular change, and they never liked it. So the Carter administration at that time in America, they decided to support Pakistan with $400 million. They offered $400 million to General Ziaul Haq, but he refused. He said these are peanuts because he was waiting for the new administration, Reagan's administration, which was, expectedly, he thought that they may win in the next elections. So he thought that Reagan would be a much better president than the Carter. So that's what happened. General Zia's calculation was good, and when Reagan came in power, he came up with billions of dollars of aid. Initially, I think he came up with $3.8 billion. Then later on, he gave about $4.8 billion. So this aid was for next 5 to 10 years. So this aid focused on primarily one thing, that they are going to contain the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and definitely for that they brought all sorts of people to this region, like for example Saudi Arabia along with Muslim countries, China, Japan, NATO countries, 49 states. So they all came to this region to counter the expansion of Soviet Union. So ultimately, they trained about 250,000 people there, and the slogan was "Holy War." The United States of America, actually, this was their slogan, because if they had asked the any country to come and fight for the Afghans, I think why would a Saudi, or why would an African or Chinese would come to Afghanistan and fight against the Soviet Union for the Afghanistan? So they raised the slogan that yes, Islam is in danger, and this is a holy war, jihad, and please come and play your role. So this was the time when all sorts of people like Osama bin Laden, Abdullah Azam, these were the people who are the considered as the founder of Al-Qaeda. They came to Afghanistan to fight against the Soviet Union in the name of Islam. So this was a kind of proxy war between the United States of America and Soviet Union. So in a nutshell, I'm just giving you a quick review of that. So by 85, Soviet Union and the Afghan so-called Mujahideen, they were fighting against each other, and there was a stalemate until America introduced, Stinger missile in the in Afghanistan. Stinger missile is a heat seeker seeker missile, which targets the engine of a helicopter or aircraft. So in next 3 years, they shot down more than 200 Russian aircraft, Soviet aircraft, which seriously crumbled the military operations of Soviet Union in Afghanistan. So automatically, it was costly for the Soviet Union to carry out their operations in Afghanistan, and ultimately they left. And in '88, they started started their withdrawal from Afghanistan. And by '92, they full-fledged withdrawal took place, and they withdrew from Afghanistan. Okay, after '92, Afghanistan was on its own, and America, along with NATO and other countries, also left Afghanistan. So Afghanistan was on its own, and there was a power vacuum, obviously, and the 7 organizations which were trained by Pakistan, CIA, MI6, and Saudis and others. Those 7 organizations, they started fighting against each other. So there was a power struggle in Afghanistan. Okay, so during that period, it was a kind of civil war in Afghanistan in 92. During that period, a local, a girl and a boy was kidnapped by a warlord in Afghanistan, and local Mullah Umar, who was the Afghan, Amir of Afghan Taliban in Kandahar, he took a lashkar of few people, and he retrieved that girl and a boy, and they also killed that warlord. So that was the start of Afghan Taliban's movement. So here you can quote Ahmed Rashid, who is the writer of first book on Taliban Militant Oil and Islam. So this book is really good, and you can give quotation of this particular book as well when you give reference of Taliban. So this was the beginning of Taliban, and Taliban, when they came in power, By 92, from 92, they started, acquiring land in Afghanistan, and ultimately by 96 and 7, they were controlling 75% of Afghanistan. So this was a huge success for Afghan Taliban, and at the same time, it was also good for Pakistan because at least Pakistan got an ally in Afghanistan who is not going to talk about Duran line issue. So this was the beginning of Pakistan's stronghold in Afghanistan. So by 97, Taliban were controlling 75% of Afghanistan, and the remaining part, Northern Alliance, northern remaining part like no, the northern areas, they were controlled by Ahmad Shah Massoud, who was the Tajik commander, and the Northern Alliance were controlling the 25% of Afghanistan. Okay, so at the same time, by 97, Al Qaeda, which was already, which emerged after the withdrawal of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, they, after, attacking the American assets all around the globe, they came to Afghanistan in 98 from Sudan. And Osama bin Laden, along with their full-fledged gang, they came to Afghanistan and they got shuttled there. And in 1999, they started planning for 9/11. Okay, so who was the mastermind of 9/11? Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the person who was the actual planner of 9/11, and he was the person who brought, who trained 19 fighters, जिनको इन्होंने अमेरिका के अंदर वर्ल्ड ट्रेड सेंटर और बाकी 9/11 के अंदर यूज किया. 19 hijackers, 15 of them were Saudis, and remaining were from UAE, Jordan, and Egypt. Actually, there were 20, but the 20th person, he did not get the visa of United States of America. He was rejected twice, and ultimately he could not go there. So the 19 people, they entered America, and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was the person who actually, arranged for their boarding and lodging, their ticketing and their stay in America for 2 years, and they got training of flying planes, and ultimately they hijacked 4 airliners from different American airports, and they carried out attack on 2 were crashed into World Trade Center, 1 into Pentagon, which was their defense building, and 1 was aimed at Capitol Hill or maybe White House, but it was crashed because of the infighting between the passengers and among the hijackers. So soon after 9/11, Pakistani ISI chief, he was already there, Mahmoud Durrani, he was already there in America. And soon after the 9/11 attacks, Al-Qaeda, CIA came to know, and that this is the work of Al-Qaeda, because obviously Al-Qaeda at that time was the only transnational terrorist group which could carry out attack against them. So soon after that, America gave some set of demands through Pakistani ISI chief who was there in America, and those set of demands were: number 1, to cut ties with Taliban, to give them air route if it is required for the attack in Afghanistan, land routes, logistics, supplies, intelligence support, and some other demands were also there. So this was the beginning of Pakistan's role in war against terror. So I just gave you a brief snapshot of previous situation and how 9/11 attack occurred. There is a lot more details which we can discuss later on, but this was needed for this particular lecture. Now let's come to our main topic, and let's understand the overall situation now. How this war on terror has played havoc with the security of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and let's analyze it in a broader perspective. As I told you, terrorism is a transnational phenomena, and no country in the world has, major powers even. They suffered these, terrorist attacks from Al-Qaeda and other terrorist, other terrorist groups. These were the attacks carried out by Al-Qaeda in, Kenya, in which 224 American, and other people were killed. The American embassies were destroyed. It's another attack that took place in Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia, in which again many foreigners were killed. This was America's, USS Cole. It was docked in Yemen, and it was attacked by Al Qaeda. So all these attacks were, orchestrated by Al Qaeda, And Al-Qaeda also carried out an attack on the World Trade Center in '93. Its basement was attacked, but the bomb could not, detonate. And ultimately, they took, World Trade Center and Pentagon. They carried out 9/11, in which 3,000 Americans they died. And soon after that, America decided to attack Afghanistan, and they came to Afghanistan. And initially, they came to Afghanistan with the help of Northern Alliance. Northern Alliance were the foot soldiers, and the Americans they used their air force along with their special forces to carry out operations in Afghanistan and to topple the Taliban regime.
This
So
Northern Alliance is the alliance of the Afghan government.
no, they were not Afghan government. They were actually the rivals of Taliban in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is divided in four ethnic groups: Pakhtuns, Uzbek, Tajik, Hazara, and some others. But these are the four, main, you can say, ethnic groups. So Pakhtuns were the dominant. Taliban were Pakhtun, and they were controlling the 75% of Afghanistan. And the remaining three, Uzbek, Tajik, and Hazara, they were in the Northern Alliance. And
Okay.
Northern Alliance was led by Ahmad Shah Massoud. And Ahmad Shah Massoud was killed just one day before the 9/11 attacks, and he was killed by Al Qaeda. And it was a gift to Mullah Omar that see, we have killed your number one enemy, and now let's support us in the 9/11 attacks. Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
So after 9/11, the United States of America, attacked Afghanistan, and because of their superior air force, they had support of more than 70 countries, and their special forces and their air force they conducted pinpoint operations, along with the foot soldiers of Northern Alliance, and they cleared Afghanistan within few months. And